embracing everything
Yeah.
that is non-white English Christian. We then have the Met Police set up an anti-witchcraft department in the Met Police, making concessions to different groups all the time.
Yeah. A lot of this, we're talking about multiculturalism being our strength. Multiculturalism is all about embracing Muslims, Muslim religion. They're now talking about
It's more than that. It's about embracing everything that is non-white English Christian.
Yes, correct.
So it's not necessarily about Muslims. It's about it's about Christian Nigerians.
Yes, yeah.
Who are involved in witchcraft. So
Yeah.
what do? We then have the Met Police set up an anti-witchcraft department in the Met Police.
Yeah.
Not doing Muslims. It's about anything that's non-white, non-English, non-Christian, and we celebrate.
And that's the point, isn't it? It always seems to be for these obscure or more mainstream religions, but never to the benefit of white English Christian people or people like me, just normal British people who. So this
it's always for failed cultures, because we have to do something to save them because they're failed cultures.
Yeah.
So we either integrate them and assimilate them into society, which they don't want to do, in which case we have to change the rules, bend the rules, put different things in place so these failed cultures won't look so failed in this country.
And in doing that, we're accepting behaviours that are not native to this country. And I think this is the problem. That because we're trying to embrace multiculturalism, we're then saying, as a result of multiculturalism, if this is something your religion or your culture does, it is acceptable. And we had the example last week where we were talking about guys hanging around outside of school, just had a little chat saying, this isn't a cultural norm here, basically.
But this has been going on for a very long time.
Yes.
Why did we ever allow Jews to move here and continue male circumcision?
Yeah, we shouldn't have.
Well, why did we allow that?
Yeah.
In the 70s, why did we force everybody on motorbikes to wear helmets, apart from Sikhs?
Yes, I remember that.
We've been doing it for a long time, making concessions to different groups all the time.
Yeah, boiling the frog. We've been doing it bit by bit, and now it's overwhelming us.
Yeah.
So the latest survey, we're just going with multiculturalism. The latest survey is saying that the UK population is now going to grow by 5 million, and by 2032 is going to be 72.5 million people, and that is entirely through immigration, that growth.
Yep.
So we're seeing all this stuff happening, we're hearing all these stories, we're hearing all the horror stories in Europe. Sweden is now in chaos, we're hearing that, even though they've stopped immigration. But we're looking to get another 5 million immigrants in here.
And if we have Labour 5 years, then that'll be true. Depending how soon we can get rid of Labour, then it'll stop. Whoever comes in next I cannot foresee how they carry on with this mass migration. Whoever gets in next. Yeah. But Labour won't change.
And just there's some stats out on economic activity. This is from 2021 related to the census. Apparently, economic inactivity, not activity, in Arabs, blacks and Pakistanis are typically 40% above, whereas white British inactivity is only 23%. So we're basically finding out that these cultures, these people we're allowing to come here, and mainly it is now black, Pakistani, Asian people, their levels of economic activity are massive compared to British people, white British people.
That's why they come here, for the benefit state. People have been saying this for decades and decades and decades, and the government have lied to us and lied to us and lied to us. But the amount of inactivity now in the migrant community is higher than it's ever been, because we now have open borders.
Yeah.
So, we'd have some unemployed migrants 20, 30 years ago, but they had to apply for a visa, they had to trick the way to get here, pretend they were a student. Where now our borders are wide open and people are just flooding in.
Yeah.
And most, I can't remember the figure now, I think it was like 60% of all migrants from sub-Saharan African can't even read or write in their own language. That's the quality the migrants were getting.
How are they getting in then? They can't be passing any tests, can they?
But now it's open borders, so it's the boats.
Oh, I see.
It's coming now. If you
If the Somalian doctor comes in, he can bring 20 of his relatives with him.
And it's not stuff like that. You come as one of your friends, you chip in together and you fund somebody in your village to get to the UK as a student. They get to the UK as a student, then they bring 8 relatives. And you're one of the relatives because you helped chipped him to get him there. Or you fund his illegal crossing of the channel, knowing once he gets here, 2-3 years later, he may get citizenship, in which case he can bring 10 family members. So all this is a scam, it's a con, just to get here, because even though we think England's turning into a shithole, it's still paved with gold compared to the shithole where they live.
Yeah, no, we still have a high GDP, which is dropping every year, but it's still higher than most countries.
Yeah.
And this government seems intent on saying, "Oh, we've got a high GDP, so we need to give it to the rest of the world." That's what seems to be happening, isn't it? We're hearing more and more horror stories. Labour is also watering down the border laws. I don't know if you heard this as well. So they're changing something to do with the age, recognition of age or things like that, basically making it easier now for illegal immigrants to become citizens of the country. That's changing. But it goes further than just... So I think it's interesting, isn't it? What we've talked about here is, we've talked about uncontrolled immigration and then a government who is then favouring this uncontrolled immigration and these immigrants ahead of their own people in a massive way.